Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. Today's episode is the crossroads between the present and the future for Diep and James. A decision made with pure courage, an unspoken promise, powerful enough to change their entire world. And a secret, so beautiful it makes Diep tremble, just like the very first moment she fell in love. Watch until the very last second, because the final scene will take your breath away. And if you love gentle, heartfelt stories like this, don't forget to leave a like, drop a small comment, and hit subscribe so you can follow Diep and James's journey with me every day. Nee slept soundly beneath a thin blanket, her gentle breaths like tiny whispers dissolving into the quiet night. The small room was lit by a single warm yellow bulb, its honey-soft glow just enough to reveal the peaceful innocence on the little girl's face. In the corner, the kettle bubbled softly, its steady rhythm blending with the crisp night wind outside the porch, creating that familiar, tender soundscape of mountain homes after dark. James and Diep sat side by side on the old wooden bed. The space between them was so small that their warmth touched naturally, neither intentional nor avoided. They didn't speak much, yet the silence wasn't empty. It was full of the rare calm shared by two people who had weathered far too many storms. Diep was the one who broke the quiet first. She told him about the batch of mung beans she sold at the market that morning, her voice light as a breeze but carrying genuine joy. Her cheeks glowed with pride, her eyes bright as she recounted how everyone loved them, how they told her to bring more because her mung beans tasted better than anyone else's. James listened in silence, but his eyes said more than words ever could. He tilted his head just slightly, as if afraid to miss a single word, a single breath. In that moment, she was the only light in the room to him. Every sentence she spoke seemed to fall softly into his heart and settle there. Then James finally spoke, his voice low and soft, so soft that Diep paused to listen. It was the kind of softness that came from not wanting to disturb the fragile peace of the night. I quit the job at my father's company. Diep looked up, not with the kind of shock that makes a person gasp, but slowly, deeply, as though seeing something shift inside him. In James's eyes, she saw it. A line crossed, a door closed, a future not perfect and not easy, but a future he chose with his own hands. And in that future was her. She didn't speak. She simply reached out and touched his hand, a touch so light it was almost nothing, yet somehow enough for James to feel her complete trust. He leaned closer, his breath brushing her hair. Tomorrow, I'm taking you somewhere special. A beat of silence. His eyes flickered with worry, like a child afraid the gift he prepared wouldn't be loved. I just don't want you to dislike it. A soft warmth rushed through Diep's chest, not from curiosity, not from fear, but from understanding how important this must be to him. She smiled, very gently, and rested her head on his shoulder. No questions, no guessing, no breaking the beauty of the moment with hurried words. There are moments that simply need to be left untouched, moments where secrets are meant to bloom in their own perfect time. And that night, just before sleep washed over her, Diep felt it. A quiet certainty that tomorrow would change many things in her life. The early sunlight poured gold over the village rooftops, soft as a thin morning shawl. Diep and James walked Nee to the school gate. James knelt down, slowly tightening the strap on her backpack, his voice so gentle it made Diep's heart tremble. Your teacher says you're very hardworking, Nee. We're both so happy you were praised. When Nee skipped into her classroom, James rose to his feet. He drew in a long, steady breath. There was something deep and resolute in his eyes. Because today was the day he had been preparing for a very long time. That morning, James brought Diep to a stop in front of the most elegant bridal boutique in town. Even from the outside, the place carried a beauty that made one instinctively breathe slower. Crystal chandeliers draped down like strands of sunlight, layers of white peonies arranged in soft tiers, a faint, graceful fragrance in the air, and enormous mirrors reflecting light into soft, golden halos like dawn mist. The moment the door opened, a staff member approached with a polished smile. "Welcome. Please come in and have a look at our wedding gowns." Diep froze. The words fell straight into her chest, making her heart pound so loudly she could hear each beat. She turned to James, eyes wide, unsure whether she should feel surprised, confused, or quietly overjoyed. James simply smiled, that kind of smile that flusters and warms a person at the same time, and took her hand. But right in that moment, a small storm began in her heart. She glanced down at her old, worn shoes, her fingers tightening unconsciously. Everything here was too beautiful, too polished, too distant from her world. A world of brown soil, rough dresses, firewood stoves, and bustling open-air markets. She felt as if she were standing inside a place never meant for someone like her. James noticed it instantly. He stepped forward, as if shielding her from the entire world, his voice low but filled with unwavering strength. "Today, I want this place to belong to you." The staff member paused for a beat, then smiled and nodded, her demeanor shifting at once. The air grew warmer, softer. Diep lifted her gaze, her breath catching in her chest. In James's eyes, she saw no shallow romance, no pretty words meant to fade with time. She saw absolute belief. Belief that she, with her old shoes, her hands shaped by farm work, and a heart that had always feared she wasn't enough, deserved to stand here, deserved to try on a wedding dress, deserved to be loved. And James was the one leading her into that truth. While Diep was still lost in that unfamiliar happiness, seeing herself in a pristine white wedding dress, James's phone suddenly vibrated. The sound sliced through the quiet room like an unexpected stroke across a beautiful painting. James glanced at the screen, and in that single moment, his expression changed. It was his father. The gentle smile that had just touched his lips vanished, replaced by a faint tension he couldn't quite hide. His eyes lowered for a heartbeat before he forced them back into calm. Diep didn't hear the conversation, but she saw everything. The way James paused mid-step, the way he turned slightly to the side as if to hide his face, the way his fingers tightened around the phone. Every tiny detail fell perfectly into her sight. She understood, not with her ears, but with the intuition of someone who loves deeply. James spoke quietly and briefly, no raised voice, no explanation. But when his gaze accidentally met hers through the mirror, there was something heavy in it. Guilt, a hint of pain, and perhaps a weariness he never wanted her to see. When he ended the call and turned back, his expression had softened again, or at least he tried to make it seem so. But Diep, perceptive as she was, noticed that the familiar tenderness in his eyes was dimmed by a shadow he couldn't quite shake off. "I'm sorry," James said, trying to smile. His voice was quiet, too quiet, as if whatever was said on that call was far from pleasant. Diep shook her head immediately, asking nothing. She didn't want to push, didn't want to dig into something weighing on him. Still, her hands tightened slightly, a faint ache, like a cool breeze slipping through a warm, sunny day. James stepped closer and placed a hand on her shoulder. His gaze deepened, steadier, as though he wanted to return the light that had just been taken from him. "Diep, I'm fine. And what happened just now, it has nothing to do with you." Diep smiled softly, a smile filled with understanding, tenderness, and an effort not to let sadness show. "I know." No blame, no suspicion, just quiet empathy, soft as water. And in that moment, the way James looked at her changed completely. His eyes warmed again, but deeper this time, truer, as though that short phone call had only made him hold tighter to this moment with her. He placed his hand on her waist again, gentler than before. "I choose you, Diep. Nothing can change that." Diep lowered her gaze, her heart trembling gently, as if, after a brief chill in the air, James's hand was the warmth she wanted to hold on to for a lifetime.